leading on the recommendation 208 on quality apprenticeship and the frameworks in there, mentioning on how do we enhance employability, how do we work with industry, how do we support industry to be able to, come into skills development, what are the methodologies, including the tax credits, the incentives that we need to put to industry to see the value propositions. Because when you talk about dual learning systems, then you wonder, show value for industry so that the chamber is able to provide workplaces in the same note. So we have those couples, but then as we discuss, we'll discuss about coming down to Kenya, what our work is in Kenya, from policy framework to developing programs to skills for future, and now the most important discussion on climate action when you talk about a just transition, green jobs and green skills at the same time. So if you know the ILO, we are all about creation of jobs in different sectors, creation of skills in different sectors, and spurring the economy towards sustainable livelihoods. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Geoffrey, for that. You've actually tried so much to compress all that information in one, and that is really appreciated. Of course, we can feel the presence of ILO in our respective spaces. Personally, from where I come, from the Kenya National Qualifications Authority, we are working with them in development of the recognition of prior learning policy. Again, that speaks to the skilling part of it, appreciating what people really have and can do and has not been certified, because we want to say that learning is not just attained in a classroom, where you are engaged formally, informally, your daily engagements, you find that you will pick a learning form of learning, and that would actually probably help you as an individual and also get to contribute to the country's economic development. And so we are very grateful to ILO for all that you're doing, linking academia with the labor market, and a lot of effort that's been put into that. Let's get to the industry perspective, and let me talk to our second speaker from the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We're talking about promoting lifelong learning, and we would like to hear from your perspective about in terms of linking with training institutions and the industry. Do you think that link is actually there, and what more do you think we should do?
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. Allow me to first of all appreciate the team led by our CEO of WorldSkills Kenya, Dr. Langat, and all the players who have made it possible for us to really today celebrate the WorldSkills competition. I think today is the 4th day in Kenya. This is a very historic moment, and I think it has really impacted to a lot of industries, a lot of institutions who really want to take this space to really ensure that when we talk of Kenya being competitive, then one of the integral part would be developing skills of our youth. The second thing, Madam Moderator, allow me also to say that with the ever challenging and also the adaptability of the technological advancement globally, and the unpredictable economic shifts, I want to say traditional training has no longer become very practical. It has no space. What is remaining for us to develop and remain competitive as the first industrious country like Kenya is to really adopt and embrace lifelong training. Lifelong training to us as industry players, if we boast of being number 3 rated by the Global Innovation Index 2022 as the 3rd best nation when it comes to adoption of technology and skills and expertise after Mauritius and South Africa, then all the stakeholders must really come on board and support such kind of initiatives. I expected this all to be full today. Because at the end of the day, Dr. Langat and the team, Engineer Ogenga and the rest of the team, you are going to produce products that would be required by the industry players. So it is a challenge to our industry players to really see these activator institutions to me as an avenue of really enhancing on their industry needs. The third point I want to put is that as Chamber of Commerce, we really value lifelong training because this is the only way we are going to transform our economy. It is not only adoption of technology and innovation that is important, but investing in the people is very, very important. The other day I was going around as the competitors were trying to arrange their things, and I asked myself, even if you are a professor or you are or you are a minister, check from your bedroom. Whom will you trust with your bedroom? It's a plumber and electrician. You will need them. You can even trust them with a key and give them, please, go and do some few things in my bedroom as I fly to Saudi Arabia or any other country. So this means that the products we are investing in today in the name of our skilled labor force, we really need to reposition them. We really need them we need to link them with the relevant industries so that they don't just get the classroom skills, but they need practical environment, practical expertise, and that is where we come in as Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. If you see our partnership with the Council of Governors, the governors, we constantly, recently, a message we were passing to them even during the Devolution Conference, counties also need to come in hand and support the technical institutions. Even in the hall, I was expecting even county government officials to be here because they are the people who will really be able to work with us to ensure that we really, after the graduation, what next? We need to really support. I remember my brother, Dr. Ari has talked about the apprenticeship support program. We have started this. We have working with some county governments. We are working with like KCB Foundation to ensure that we really link them with the relevant industries. But this is not sufficient, ladies and gentlemen. Our market, we know, is saturated. As Chamber of Commerce, Banadiel yesterday had some meetings with some embassies. We want to link also our products from all the TVET institutions, the relevant expertise also with our embassies. For example, Serbia, we just met Serbia yesterday. There is a lot of opportunities, especially for the ones who are in, who have acquired technical skills. So as Chamber, we will not just look and map out the local industries, but globally, because we have over 177 networks across the globe. And this is an opportunity which we really want to work, continue working with the institutions to ensure that we link them with the embassies, let them get opportunities to serve in countries like Serbia, let them get opportunity. Yesterday I met a team from Thailand. They have a lot in agribusiness, the ones who have really acquired relevant skills in agribusiness in terms of relevant value chains. We want to link them so that they support them even to really become more productive even at the diaspora sphere. Another thing I want to observe is that after graduation, what next for our graduates? They still need to really enhance on areas like product development. That is where KNCCI comes in. Value addition, we really want to support them. The ones who want to begin their businesses, it is an opportunity for us as KNCCI to work with the relevant industries to give them support so that they would be able to get, acquire some affordable funding to buy equipment, begin their industry so that they can also create employment. We still also do a lot of research and policy influence so that the government can give them opportunities, even through incentives, have pro-business policies to support our youths. I expect the ones who will be graduating today, not only just to think of employment, but to create employment opportunity. And that is where Chamber would come in. We work with various financial institutions to ensure that our skilled labor force would also be given opportunity to be given a package through incentives, and also additional training in terms of financial incubation programs. We work with several institutions. As we speak, in the next of 1 month, we are going to roll up a program which is going to target 100,000 youths. And I think, DG, 80% of these beneficiaries would be the graduates from the TVET institutions. What are we going to do with them? We are going to train them, package them, prepare them for the market, so that they would be able to be given financial support. They begin their businesses, and they will be able also to link them with the government agencies so that they are able to benefit from the procurement opportunities. And this one we are doing with several development partners. I call upon all development partners who are here. We are working with the GIZ, ILO. I will not leave you behind after this. I need your contact. We package a program to support this our youth so that they create employment. And this one we want to do in consultation with the national government. The better which they talk about, bottom-up economic transformation agenda, cannot be achieved if it is not private sector driven. That's why some of us, since this program started, have been here every day just to scout and see the opportunities and link up, and my staffs are here, to link them up so that they get rapid support and immediate and relevant support that they would be able to grow among themselves. Lastly, we cannot grow as a country if we are not competitive within the global market. I want to really assure you that we'll work with the youths who are very innovative so that they access the global market. And we'll do that. We have begun a very rapid economic shuttle within the African continent. When we talk of 1.2 billion market opportunity within African Free Continental Trade Area, who will make our youth to really realize those opportunities? It is Chamber. When we talk within the COMESA area, even within the EAC, 150 million business opportunities, who will connect them? It is us. I want to really ask you, DG, give us like even 5 very innovative youths out of the competition and the feedback we'll give tomorrow. So that as we go to Egypt in the next of 1 month, we give them free flights. Let them go and learn opportunities. You see, Egypt now is outshining even China. If you go to most of our hardwares now, people are getting products from Egypt. Do you know what they do? They have invested into the skills transfer, local training institutions. If you go to Egypt, cottage industries is the center stage. If you go to Egypt, youth are really empowered. They are doing a lot of work. The sunflower oil we buy from our supermarkets, we can do it in Kenya. We grow sunflower and we train our youths to do value addition so that we don't remain a very consumption market or import market. We must really appreciate the youth who have acquired the skills from all these respective institutions. And all of us must contribute to this space. Me, as KNCCI, on behalf of the leadership, we have taken personal commitment and will work with all relevant institutions to ensure that this is really a true game, and we are going to turn around it. Watch the space. I call upon all of you to work with us closely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Nyangoso, that is CEO, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Very, very great insights there. And I like that voice of assertion that yes, we are able and yes, we can. How are we preparing our youth, even as we talk about creating employment? And thank you so much for that offer, that for those of our youth that are going to demonstrate creativity and innovation, there is an opportunity for them. And not just those 5. I believe you will be given more, and we shall help these youth to get employment locally and internationally. Our work, ladies and gentlemen, is well cut out for us. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me at this point to acknowledge the presence of our PS, State Department for TVET, Dr. Esther Moria. Thank you very much for coming in. Karibu sana. You've just found us going on with a panel discussion, and we're looking at lifelong learning and linkage between training institutions and the industry. And we are thinking about what we need to do in our respective spaces in empowering Kenyans with skills for sustainable development. So amazing points and discussion happening here. We shall continue with our discussion here. I see Engineer Ogenga from NITA is really rearing to give us his thoughts. And now getting to National Industrial Training Authority, you know, you are in a very active space when it comes to skilling and your role also in training and industry as well. What is the role of NITA in strengthening lifelong learning and this linkage that we are looking at? What is it that we've been able to do? What is it that we can even do better? Engineer Ogenga.
Thank you so much, my colleague, Dr. Kande, our DG at the Kenya National Qualifications Authority. And more importantly, I'm motivated this morning that our PS TVET, Dr. Esther More, is here to support this very inclusive and very important activity that is going on in Kenya. I'm much more comfortable because of the presence of the CEO of WorldSkills Kenya, my colleague, Dr. Langat, who has, in his address, clearly stated the importance of this particular space that you're occupying this morning. I'm encouraged by the presence of my colleague Geoffrey Ochola from ILO, our key support in terms of enabling the skills ecosystem in Kenya as ILO. And more importantly, the partnership from my colleague, Dr. Nyangweso, from the CEO of KNCCI. And therefore, this morning, on behalf of the National Industrial Training Authority, I want to say that it is a space that we really want to support, especially the fact that it forms the foundation of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. When we are able to see a space prepared to enable our citizens to demonstrate competences in the value chains that will inform the enabling of our economy. And for the past 3 days, I think all of us have witnessed the kind of capacity that we harness in this country in as far as enabling the economy is concerned. And therefore, as the National Industrial Training Authority, and I want to say from the onset that we come from the government team approach. That means that from the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, and specifically thanking the executive for creating the State Department for Labor and Skills Development, upon which we sit. And I want to confirm that my PS is keen on this particular activity, and we will be able to join our PS TVET here, either today or tomorrow, for the purposes of supporting the kind of opportunities that we're giving our youth. And as Dr. Nyangweso has said, we are looking at, sometimes I compare it within two pyramids. One, the skills pyramid, upon which the bottom of the pyramid, we have the largest number of players in terms of capacity to build this economy, the artisans, the technicians following shortly, the technologists, the engineers and managers at the top. At the same time, that pyramid actually applies to the demographic pyramid, because at the bottom, on the foundation of the demographic pyramid, we have the youth, who are almost over 70% of this particular economy. And therefore, for the purposes of enabling the growth of this economy, then we are looking at the fact that over 80% of the competitors that are before us today are basically the youth. And if we don't harness that particular capacity right now for the purposes of what we are creating for them, then we are not doing good our economy. But at the same time, again, we are looking at, as has been said by my colleagues, that over 80% of this economy is in the informal sector and contributing to about 30% of the GDP. So from those kinds of comparisons, then we are properly guided to provide the nexus between the skills pyramid, the demographic pyramid, and finally, of course, the economic pyramid, upon which the informal sector then forms the biggest component of the same. So as the National Industrial Training Authority, I was really encouraged because we have supported these opportunities. A number of competitors are from our space. A number of judges are from our database. And that database then points to the fact that our space points to several approaches to enabling this economy in terms of skills development. That we have opened up opportunities for pre-skilling because of the demand of the youth transiting from pathways, formal, informal, and others. But most importantly, then we're in a space to upskill those who have acquired competencies from other systems so that they're able to fit directly to what is required by the industry and the employers. But apart from that, then because of the dynamics of technology, then we must continue reskilling those particular entry behaviors so that they keep up with the demands of our partners. You saw our partners coming here from China, Germany, Australia, and others. But more importantly, again, for the purposes of the gig economy, again, we must continue cross-skilling so that we are able to enable our youth to have additional skills that will enable them to remain competitive and productive. Because if competency is a resource set of three particular tenets, knowledge, attitudes, and skills in the middle, then we must say that we cannot ignore the component of knowledge and attitudes. And for the purposes of absorption into self or wage employment, I think the most important thing is the culturation of the entry behavior. And therefore, for the purposes of the activities that we have here today, we must put more emphasis on enabling the psychosocial development of the competitors that we have here today. The attitudes. To what extent can they economically operate the resources that have been placed to them to produce a product that is competitive, not only regionally, but also internationally? And therefore, that is the space that we've come here to fill today. And we are very proud that this is becoming big. And even as it becomes big, then we are looking at improving the same in as far as enabling the environment is concerned. So to go back to what Dr. Kande has emphasized on, ours as the National Industry Training Authority is basically a tripartite-driven environment. And I'm proud that the CEO of Kenya National Chamber of Commerce is here representing a social partner that plays a key role in linking industry with training. And that is why when you look at our oversight, then we are closely aligned to the requirements of the ILO, that if we do not work closely with the employers and the workers and the government, then we are not working in an environment that is competitive. And that is why in the tripartite nature of our operations in labor and skills development, we are properly oversighted by the Union of Employers, FKE. We are properly anchored on the requirements of the COTU, but more importantly, we are actually anchored on the support of the government through the government one-team approach, upon which we work very closely with all other ministries that pertain to the same. But more importantly, today is that we are providing a pathway that is aligned to standards. That for the purposes of bringing closer the informal sector, through several approaches that Dr. Langat talked about, the world is looking at opportunities through innovative apprenticeship programs. And we are currently supported globally to have a recommendation called Recommendation 208 of quality apprenticeships, upon which we are looking at that particular approach to provide opportunities that links directly the requirements of the industry that is present here today to enable the competition to succeed, through inclusivity, through providing protection for the workers and the beneficiaries that are before us here today, through providing partnerships, international, local, and ETC, to promote apprenticeships that must be hybrided to the extent that without the industry space, by provision of internships, a key item in the work environment for the purposes of enabling beneficiaries transiting from systems that will enable them to work very closely to and to have expertise that enables them to directly to integrate into the world space. And that is why we're here to provide attachments during the period in which people are still in training, but more importantly, to allow an integration of spaces between the industry, the institutions, and all partnerships that form intermediaries for the purposes of allowing our beneficiaries to be very close to the world of work. And as has been said before, of course, we in Kenya, of course, are very close to interface between the third industrial revolution, because we cannot do away with that. We have systems that are still aligned to third IR, but more importantly, the space of the fourth industrial revolution requires then that the capacity that is physically seated here today, but more importantly, I'm proud that even if the hall is not full, there are a lot of virtual participants, Daktari, that are keen onto the kind of discussion that is going on here today. And there are more than the people that are seated here today for the purposes of understanding how we can be able to continue promoting a sustainable life learning approach so that we can be able to create linkages between training institutions and industry. And for our work, then we want to assure the citizenry and the beneficiaries that are here today that what is happening here today must be sustained, that we must take a proper statistic and handhold all the competitors and the judges that are here today with effect from what is happening here today, so that we see that we compensate them for the intellectual property rights that are going on here today, that we commercialize the ideas that are going on here today, the products that are here today, so then that we can sustain this particular space into what we believe will be able to provide sustainable opportunities for the beneficiaries. You are aware that this particular space has been informed by certain projects from partners. The Kenya Youth Employment and Opportunities Project, for which all the partners that are seated here today participated, comes to an end today. But the government has seen it wise to approve the next phase of the project called NYOTA, National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement. Therefore, it is seen then that the potentials that accrued as a result of that particular project then leads to more opportunities by doubling the resource that the government is providing to enable our youth to proceed and get opportunities within the industries. So away from that, then we must be sure then that for us to align ourselves to the requirements of the industry, then we work closely with labor market intelligence. So we rely on the databases that are provided by our partners. We rely on the Kenyan National Labor Market Information Systems housed at the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. But more importantly, then, that without the industry, then we cannot inform the training that we are looking at. And therefore, for us, we are going to provide horizontal and vertical opportunities for our beneficiaries for the purposes of enabling skills mobility and labor mobility, not only for labor export that forms a key part of a government